Hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. Good evening. Welcome. My name is Obindako. Welcome. I want to share with you today is on real estate properties. Real estate, uh, you know, uh, properties, development, investment. Mini Majo. I want to share something about what some of the steps that can help all of us if you intend to go into properties, if you intend to go into greetings, if you intend to go into properties in Ghana, is something that if you have some basic understanding, you will add what you know to it, and some of the errors, some of the struggles, some of the frustrations that people would have in doing or in investing in properties in Africa. Maybe you'll be able to do it better than most people. So my name is Obindako. I want to share with you. We built construction companies for a while. We did some projects for institutions, not mainly government institutions, but some major companies. We will go for the contract and we will, execute them, and they will pay it. Sometimes you go through a lot of struggles with the payment, but we gain a lot of experiences, I think, working with a lot of these companies. The last one that we did was with a property development company, and I saw the concept, I saw the errors that they made. Don't forget that if you are a contractor, if you're building, or if you have a construction company, it's not same as somebody who is developing properties. Because if you're a construction company, somebody would have to get the money, give you the project, you do it for them, you don't own it, they pay you, you go, you stay off. And then if you are the one who, you have gone for the money and this is your concept, you want to build it to rent, or you want to build it to sell, that is you. Now we do some of those, apartment, we do with our own, resources. And this some of the lessons that I would want to share with you, because building is it's a field that most people think that they know, so everybody thinks that they can build, but I think a lot of thinking goes into it. If the thinking is not right, if a lot of the decisions that you're making on your project, on building an apartment, for instance, for rent, a lot of the times you will lose the money. You probably will not complete the project. You become so frustrated because the components are many. You're really producing a house, so knowing where your strength is and knowing where to position and understanding a lot of things will help you. By all means, you go through your struggles, by all means, you go through your problems. It's okay, but at least if you think through some of these things, you will understand that problems would have to come anyway. But if you're informed, I think some of the problems you can go around them. So if you have to target, if you want to build apartment. I see when you come to Accra, for instance, you can see a lot of apartments in nice areas. I am not so they make the city nice, they beautify the city, but that's not my interest. I am looking at 70 to 80% of the population. What can you do for that? Because that's where the drive is. I think that's where the real impact is. So if you want to build, apart from you making some money, what impact do you want to have on the country, on the society? What rare solutions are you providing? What rare problems are you solving? And housing They say Ghana is in deficit of about 2 million. That's what they say of me. I think it's more than that, but that's what they say. So we go by that, which means there's a huge need for it. But don't forget that anytime that you go into building, it takes the money. It doesn't come back. It continues to suck the money until you have completed the project and until you have started to maybe sell it or let it out. You are going to continue to sink the money in the project. And so it's very much important you decide. You are very much close to accurate as to who you are building for. Are you going to build for the top 5%, very rich people that you rent to them, in thousands, or you want to build for the next category of people, or you're going to build, from maybe 60 to, maybe from not the last, because the last they can rent between 550 Ghana to 200 Ghana cedis a month, most of them. What market are you looking at? How much are you renting the house? Which concept do you have? These are the things that will help you so that you can locate, because you can't put any building anywhere and expect people to rent. So you have to decide the people you want to build for, how much rent you want to take, if you're building to rent. So if you want to build from maybe 50 cedis to 200 Ghana cedis a month, that is your market, no problem. Or some people will say that I want to build 200 to 500 Ghana cedis a month for a single room, self-contained, we call them. Or somebody will say I want to build 500 cedis to maybe 1,000 cedis a month, or maybe 1,000 to 2,000 cedis a month. Which category are you looking at? Because this kind of decision will then decide which area you have to put up the structure. It's very key. If you miss this, some people would want to, go and look for land, look for money, finish building it, they paint it, then they hang something there to say that I'm renting these houses. And then the price that they are quoting based on the area, they don't match, they don't make sense. So you can see that people need places to rent, but because you are building for yourself, most people, if you are not a very huge developer, if you don't have a lot of millions, which means that you have to make sure that your decisions are great with your resources. And so if you're going to build and rent them, and maybe even it's just all the money that you have, then you have to make sure that you put it in a place that the market, the people who need it can afford it. So you're not building for yourself. You may be somebody who likes, nice things, everything perfect, but the people you are building for, you're not going to live there. Can they afford this? Can they afford what you're building? So once you're able to categorize it, once you're able to at least, you're not 100%, but even if you're 50% close to the right answer, I'm sure that you'll be able to do well. So 50 to 200 per month for single room, or maybe double, 2-bedroom is up to you, or 200 to 500, or 500 to 1,000, or maybe 1,000 to 2,000, 2-bedroom house. Where do you have to situate it? It's very key. Because if you're charging, let's say 3,000 Ghana cedi to 5,000 or 10,000, you're not looking at going to build somewhere around Amasamai or Sawam area where people would have to drive, because the people who would want to pay 3,000 or 5,000, they are not looking at that place. They are looking at East Legon cantonments, not industrial area. They're looking at upscale. If you're in Kumasi, they're looking at, you are looking at maybe Odeno, Kwadaso, or, very expensive areas. Those are if you are putting up building to rent to people who can afford this, I think that you have to look at very key areas, and then you have to look at your finishing. The moment you are dropping, you have to know. You have to know the kind of people that are going to be there. So look at the location, and on the land, for instance, what I know, if it's in Accra land, you have to know that you have to do a lot of search, but don't be scared. That should not scare you. A lot of the times, if you know an individual, a friend or a family who has bought the land and who is selling it, a lot of the times it's a bit different than if you go to the landowners themselves to buy. And I would say that if you're building to rent, get a place where there's already the electricity, and there's already electricity. Even if it's not water, there is electricity. It's good. And even if there is no road, the road is not that good, at least electricity. It means it's so mean that there is already certain people already live there. That one for me is the way. If you don't do that, a lot of the times you go into trouble. You run into trouble. So look at the land, and if you can have a land that you can trust the people, is the best. If you don't trust the people, then I would say that, just a minute, I would say that look for somebody who you trust, who already has the land. That will save you a lot of the times. Nobody's land. We have bought land that you got trouble. Don't be scared, because you want to do it anyway. But eventually, if the people are good, they will find a solution for you. And so your concept, the location will have to tally with the concept that you have, the people that you have in mind, the kind of people who you want to rent to. Very key. If you don't get this right, there is likely that there are other things that you miss them, and then I also think that you should push yourself to finish if you're going to start the construction yourself, you should look at between 12 months to 20 to 24 months. Within 2 years, you should be able to finish it. Don't design a project such that 5 years you are still building. If I have to build, let's say, 9-unit apartment, 2-bedroom, and it's going to cost me, let's say, 2 million cedis, and I don't have 2 million, but I have 500,000. I'm not going to. Maybe I may design the 9-unit, but I will look at, okay, can I finish the down since I don't have money? Can I finish the ground floor? If the 500 can finish the ground floor, I finish it and I rent it. Because the more you wait on the project, the more you lose the money, because materials don't stay at the same, material price don't stay at the same point within that period. So maybe one bag of cement is 40 cedis. If you struggle so much, by the time that is 2 years, one bag of cement could be double, which means that your cost of construction is going up. And if your cost of construction is going up, it means that you would have to charge more on your rent. Or if you're going to be moderate on your rent, it means that it's going to take a lot of time to even get the money that you put in the project in the first place, let alone the profit. So I would say that do it such that you can easily let the property out. It's okay, you want to be ambitious. And I also say that if you're going to if you're going to go for bank loan and it's 30%, 40%, I dare say that you have to be very skillful financially to be able to do this and make profit and not cause trouble. Because then most of the banks will say that, okay, we don't then bring the land document, we will finance you. And I can tell you that if you take a loan like that, the rent per year may not even be able to service the interest, which means automatically the property is for the bank. So I would not say that go and borrow money to build like that. I will not say that. I don't know how to do that. Where you're paying 30-40%, you create disaster. Most of the companies that I know who went into properties development, real estate development, who went for loan, eventually had problems. Some of them even collapsed the main companies, the parent companies. Some of them were financial institutions, insurance companies, things like that. And they thought that they had money. They went into property development and they crashed the main mother company as well. Why? Because it was not sustainable. If you go to borrow and you put it in there, because let's say it's taking you 2 years to build. Most of the financial arrangements that they do, they will not give you 2 years before you start to pay the money back anyway. So automatically you push yourself into a problem. So do it. If you have other sources of funding, then perfect. If you have friends and family who agree to say that let's pull the money together and do it, and you can manage them, then maybe it's good. But usually, I would say that do it with the resources that you have. One thing about properties is that you're not going to multiply the money that fast, but it's one of the safest way to secure your wealth. If you're able to put money in anything at all, properties can save your money if you manage to put up a good property. So I would say that give yourself a timeline. I want to do it between 12 to 20, 24 months or 36 months, but the earlier you finish the project, the better for you, because then you're able to save costs and you're able to stay with the progress of the project. So don't build with debt. Be also certain of the source of funding. Maybe you have saved money. Maybe you put some money somewhere. Maybe you have some investment. Maybe you had something that you had to sell, and you've been able to raise substantial amount of money, and you want to build apartment with it. Make sure, I would say that get as much as 50 to 60 or 70% of the money before you start to go and dig the ground. This is not I'm believing God. No. Make sure that you have the money there, 60-70%. It saves. It will save you from a lot of headache, because then you can follow your timelines. You can easily follow your timelines, and it's one of the best ways. I would say that keep the money. Don't go and buy cement go and buy cement and keep it there, blocks and keep them there, and all those things that people do, iron rods, you give it to the people so that later. I don't subscribe to that. Keep your money. If the plan changes, it's still the money. If there is problem on the land, it's still the money. You can easily use the money for other things before you reorganize. But if you go gradually, like the way they advise us, I don't think it's for people who are building apartments or properties that they want to turn into, say, business or to generate revenue. Those kind of advice will be for people who have to have somewhere to sleep. They want to build a house. They have to have somewhere to sleep. Then gradually they can do it over 5 years, 10 years. But I'm talking about investment, conserving the kind of money that you have, putting into areas that you can also turn something for you, can bring in something. And if you want to do apartment, these are some of the things. In our country, we don't have a lot of companies who have built apartments and where you can easily go and buy and say start to rent. We don't have that. Most properties you would have to build them yourself, and we don't have a lot of banks financing, these huge things. To say somebody has built a 50-unit apartment, he's selling it around 10 million Ghana cedis. A bank is ready to finance you. You go there, you provide maybe 20%, the 80% they give it to you 20 years. If you're a good manager and you go through it, well, you start to create wealth right away. Ours is a bit different. Ours, if you're going to apartment, it's so likely that you're going to do the construction yourself. It's so likely that the money is going to come from you. You have to have some different skills. It's not the same as the other part of the world. So that's what most people would go through. No way it's criminal how Ghana let lenders charge at such rate. They do, boss. They do. You can have 5% a month. They do. On the properties, sometimes they come out and speak all this, these guys in suit and tie working in the banks, they come and speak all. But if you go inside, you will see it. That is not that, simple. And so be sure of your source of funding. Be very sure. Don't go and start and then you are waiting for somebody. It's not the way. I think that do it as professionally as you can. Handle the money well. Manage the processes well. If you're able to get even 50%, you'll be able to do it well. So that is part of it. So my name is Robin Darko. The first part, if we get them right, I can tell you that the other parts you will get them right. But if you miss the first part, if you miss the idea generation, if you're not able to put things well, it's likely that your project will suffer. So this is not a house that you're building to live in. This is a house that you are trying to build to rent. So if you don't like Accra, there's Kumasi. If If you don't like Kumasi, you can go to Sunya in Takoradi. There is Boga, there's Tamale, there is Ho, there is, now we have 16 regions. So you can go to where the new regions that they created, Sahara, Northwestern region, or there is demand. And a lot, and some of the district capitals, yes, there is demand, but you have to make sure that you get your concept right. If you go to Techimai, for instance, what kind of housing, what kind of rooms do they look for? What is the rent? What kind of people are looking for such rooms? You can't say that, oh, I want to build 3-bedroom. Meanwhile, 3-bedroom, maybe you're looking for 3,000 or 2,000. And maybe Techimai people are not looking for 3-bedroom. Maybe in Techimai people are looking for 1-bedroom, self-contained, or 2-bedroom. And maybe they are not even looking for very high finishing, very expensive finishing, because that's something about people who have taste. If you have good taste, you're looking for a very nice one, but can the people afford it? You have got to get that side right. If you don't, you will build, and sometimes you will over even spend. You spend so much in a property that you're going to let, and then it takes you 20 years to even get the money that you put in. That is even if you're good, so build to work from there. If you are not getting that right, don't start the building, don't start the building. If you are not right with the concept, don't start. Make sure you get it right. It can be district capital. It can be anything. District capital, there are a lot of young people who are going to schools in a lot of these district capitals, or they are new, they have new postings, government workers, new other companies work there, but they are not the ones who can pay 2,000 a month rent. Usually they are the ones who can pay from 200 to 500 a month. That's what they're looking, or maximum 1,000. And our problem with taking 6 month, 1 year, 2 year advance rent is also it's not, it's totally very tough. It's a tough situation. If you're taking somebody 1,000 a month and you're asking for 2 years, that is 24,000 that the person would have to give you upfront. That automatically cuts a lot of people off your property. Because if I don't have 24,000 and you are charging 1 month 1,000 and you are taking 2 years, I don't qualify. So because of that, we don't pay monthly. Those, if you don't know, in Ghana, very few people will take monthly rent. The best ones, they will take maybe 3 months or 6 months rent. I think that we should be able to take 1 month or 2 months or 3 months rent. It will help. But at the moment, people also don't get the right funding, which means that they take their own money to fund the project. And when they finish, they would also at least would want to take, maybe get, if nothing at all, maybe 10% or 5% of what they have sunk in. So if they are taking it monthly, they would also, can you imagine somebody has spent 2 million on the project and then people start to give you a kind of story. So that also puts a lot of people in difficult situation, and you cut people off. So when you're going to any place, you have to, this is so much important. If they are working in the mining companies, they are looking for single room, do the single room for them. Maybe single room self-contained, do it for them. Don't go and do the ones. Yes, management will be difficult because let's say you're doing 3 2-bedroom apartments, units. Now, if you're doing a single, you probably have to multiply by 2. So you're going to get a lot of different tenants living there. They create all kind of, you have to provide different kind of meters for them, maybe even water meters, or I don't know. There are other things that you would have to come out to make sure that they fit and they make the management of your property easy, and the more you are having a lot of, small tenants, the more problems that you have. But you have to know that this area, this is what they need. For instance, if you are in La Paz or Achimota, Mas7 area, or even Adenta area, most people in these kind of areas in Accra are not looking for 2-bedroom. They're looking for single, self-contained. Most of them, because a lot of them are young, and they are looking between 200 Ghana cedis to 500 Ghana cedis. This is it. This is what they can pay. So let's say I work and you take 200 Ghana cedis a year. That is 2 times, that's what is it? 12 times, that's 2,400 a year. So if you take 1 year, at least a lot of young people can afford that. 2,400, a lot of young people can afford that. But if it's 500 and you're taking a year, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money for people. So you have to really decide who you are building for. There is no greater decision than this one. You have to understand the people who are coming to rent from you. If you don't get it, don't build. Apartment, don't build. Because once you finish, you have it in your head. Oh, I'm going to charge this one. I'm going to charge a lot because I've spent a lot of money. Then you see that people will not be coming. Or when they come, you would have to drop it. Because that's, as a matter of fact, a lot of the times, the market will decide how much you will charge. The kind of people who will be coming to the project based on where you have built. Eventually, you will see there is a common rent. You may have some deviations, but they are not many. So this one is very important. If you don't get it right, there are other things that you will not get it right. So then you have to, now you at least you understand who you are building for, where you're supposed to situate, the income bracket of the people in the area that you're trying to build. You're not building for yourself, which means that you're also looking at the finishing. What kind of things that you have to bring in the property? What are the things that you have to fix there? You have to provide it at a cost that they can afford. Don't forget that. So if your math is not good, do it well. Unless you want to help us to, to get a lot of people to, so you really don't need the money, then that's fine. But if you want to build it and turn it into a business and run it well, please, you have to really get this one right. Then when this concept is right, then you engage your architects and your engineers. Engage your architects and engineers. They will be able to also give you a lot of information. If you're not so sure of where to get the information on the rent and the kind of people who live there, talk to the agents. Talk to them. You can just, engage them as if you want to rent a place. They become your friends. They will give you a lot of information. They will tell you. But whatever they tell you, sieve it. Sieve it. Run through your numbers and see, does this make sense? Sieve it. It's very key. If you don't, and you're going to build. If you're not a builder yourself, even if you're a builder, you have to understand what is going on in the current situation. So get a good engineer who you can easily engage with, and you have to be very good with managing them. It's okay. You have to know how to pick their thoughts, challenge their thoughts, and you should also make it very convenient for them to also challenge what you think, and sometimes disagree and shoot down what you think. You have to create that kind of environment so that, because there are some things that if you're not that much open to them submitting what they think is against what you're even proposing, they will shut up. They will do it for you because they will say that, but you have your money. If you want to do whatever you want to do, I just came to work for you. Pay me the salary, I'll go. But it's your property. So make it very convenient for them to engage with you. Challenge ask them questions, let them ask you questions. I think the better the team, especially if you don't have any team together at all, have a team that will be able to help you to decide the concept. Have another team with the finances and the management, and have another team, even if it's one person that you are always talking with, and then the team that will execute. You need those. Because if you think you are the genius, this one, every component, if you mix one lie, because construction said that once you put it there and it's dried, if you want to break it, it's expensive. It's money. You put that wall there and you say, I don't like this wall. If they have to crash it, you crash it. They will use labor, you pay them, you have lost your material, and you have to go and buy another one and put it there. So that will make your cost of construction high. So get people you can easily engage with is very much important. And if you can move around, get somebody who can do a lot of the errands for you. If you want to give it to a contractor, no problem. Then you give it to a contractor, they will build higher than the normal, but then maybe you have your piece if you get a good one. It's very much important. So look at how you can work with a very good team. So that because you're building something that would have to stand for a while, would have to be there for a while, maybe 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. I don't know. Maybe you give it to your children. You're building something that is important. If you have just one 9-unit apartment, that's huge. That's huge. If you even just have that one in a good place, and because you also have to know that if you're able to rent them, if another person moves out of the building, you shouldn't find it difficult to get other people to be coming to ask if there is a space, and which will cover a lot of factors. So some people will even have very high rent, but when they move, then it becomes difficult for them to get another person to replace. Why? Because the category is so high for most people. So maybe you can get one, but when that person moves, then the house is vacant for the next 6 months. You're losing money. So you push a lot of what you're going to decide will also depend on how much you want to spend on the project, and total amount. So if it's 1 million and you have 9 units, you divide it. How much is each unit costing? It's very key. The numbers is key. If you don't get the numbers right, a lot of things will not be right. So my name is Obindako. I'm talking about building. A lot of people want to build apartment houses for rent. If you have money, I think it's better you build it in, what they call multiple. It's better that way than just building a safe compound and say that you are renting. Because if you have a lot of them that you're renting, if people move, you still have some Mazda. But if it's just one and somebody moves, it takes you another time to get somebody to be there for you. And treat it as a business. Treat it as a business. Structure it well as a business. Take it seriously. And don't say that, oh, I'm just doing something. No, do it well. Handle it well. Because we actually need a lot of people to be building to rent. A lot of if you take an agent and you move through town, you will see how much this is needed. And yet we have very high, upscale buildings charging a lot of money. That's not where the demand is. In as much as some people will be very happy to focus on those, I think the rare game changer is between the 200 and 1,000 a month kind of properties spread across our major cities. Those areas, if you focus on them for the next whatever years, 50 years, maybe 100 years, the demand is that high. Why is that? It's because most people built for themselves. A lot of the structures that we have in our major cities were not built for commercial purposes. People built for themselves, for their families. So you see 2-bedroom, 5-bedroom, 7-bedroom, 10-bedroom for the family. They were not built intentionally to rent. If you go to Kumasi, it's the same. Now you see that maybe when the people get old, then they try to give 1 or 2 of the rooms, single room for people to rent. But originally they were not built to rent. So there's a huge demand for people who are developing properties, commercial properties, residential, as we call them, to rent, apartment to rent. There's huge demand. The only thing is that you must have your mass right. The other thing is that if it's in the city, even though most people will live around La Paz and those areas, the land at La Paz too is very costly. So the land price also changes the numbers a lot. But you have to just have, I think everybody should be able to understand, okay, this is the money that I have. The land is costing here. This is the concept that I have. Maybe I can buy it here. I can go here. And maybe the people that I'm looking for will be here as well. So those you should understand. If you're not able to put them well together, then it's very difficult for you to be successful with the thing that you are renting. It will be very much difficult for you to rent those properties. So my name is Obedago. I am talking about building your apartment to rent. Real estate properties, real estate. Most people have questions. Most people will want to build a house and live in. I think that if you want peace, put your money somewhere that you can also get something. Especially those who don't live here and who have a lot of money, and who want to build very flashy houses. They build them. Nobody, because the house is reacting with the atmosphere. And once you put up a house there, it starts. You finish the painting today, the next 6 months it reacts, it deteriorates. So why build something that you're not coming to live in, and you have 10 bedroom, nobody is there? I would say that even if you have plans, build it such that at least you have something that you can rent before you even look at, unless you're very rich. These things are not for very rich people. What I'm saying is not for very, very rich people. It's for people who want to create some level of comfort, some level of security for the future, some level of wealth for themselves. And I think everybody can do it if you make informed decisions, if you get the right information. If you don't, then you will come and put all your money, 300,000, 1 million into something. And when you come the whole year, you are there for 2 months and you don't even have a lot of money. But, you don't have a lot of money, but you show that picture of the house that you have to a lot of your friends, and you know that you're not financially, in terms of finance, you're not that flexible. If you lose that job, there will be problem. If you're in that kind of category, it doesn't matter your profession, it doesn't matter your income level, you know it, and I know it. There are a lot of people who can easily create financial allowance themselves easily by just focusing on some of these things. But most people would rather want to put their money in things that will make them feel like they have reached somewhere. People would want to talk about Kwasifi, it was Kumasi, it's very nice. People will talk about it, but that financially you're very much tight. You have a lot of difficulties with loans, with things that sometimes you wake up and you look at the burden, because let's face it, consumer debt is burdensome. The debt that you have in a house that you're living in or the car that you're driving is burdensome. Let's face it. And so most people will be very happy if they don't carry a lot of this debt. That's a fact. And one of the ways that you can do that is looking at, even maybe you come from a city in Ghana, look at what can I put there and rent to bring your pressure down. And the joy of you having something that, you come, you see the apartment, you're very happy. You can look at it and say, I was able to do this. And now if you get a good manager, that thing can be some form of security financially for you for the rest of your life, and even give it to your children and your children's children. It's true. Most people have this kind of, I think everybody can do something of this sort. The problem is the confidence, and maybe the confidence, yes, because then when you start to focus on these things, people around you will think that you're crazy. And all of us would want to, show that I'm a doctor, I have nice house in Ghana, nobody lives in, the house is deteriorating. If I was financially intelligent, because if it's a burden for me, if I worry so much about my finances, and most people do, they never tell anybody, but they know that financially things are not that right. They could be driving nice cars, they could be living in nice houses, but they're worried that if they lose that job, a lot of things will turn around. Badly for them. If you are in that kind of category and you have some appreciable source of income, I will plan for the next 3-4 years. I'm going to save a certain percentage of my income. Try to live modestly a bit, and then save it to an appreciable amount. And look at building 3-unit, 4-unit, 5-unit apartment. And once you're able to do that, that becomes a guarantee for you. I'm talking of apartment. Other people can put their money in all kinds of things. Most educated people would want to look at stock and things like that. I think this one is if you do your maths well, you'll be able to double the money within 10 years or less. You'll be able to get the money back and start to make profit, and the property will still be there with little maintenance and good management. And management, I think you can do it. If you pick any young girl or young boy and give them some basic training, they'll be able to handle the people who rent them and who have to pay your rent. And it will also solve major problems, because it's part of the problems that we have in our country. So if you want to build some appreciable, because all of us must do that, especially Africans. We go somewhere, we work all our lives, and yet we don't build wealth. We don't build wealth. We spend money, we show off, but we don't build wealth. And so our children would also have to come and start from zero. So my father was, this, but he didn't leave me anything. So now I have to go and start from zero. Can you imagine if your father left you a 100-unit apartment? You don't have to go to school not to be broke. If you leave your children 100-unit apartment and you give them some basic financial knowledge, financial training, financial skill, they'll be able to keep the prosperity in the family to the next generation. This is basic. This is true. But if you only built nice house for yourself in a nice neighborhood in Accra, and you work all your life on salary, and you had some few investments, as you call them, and you are on retirement, the next generation would have to start out of nothing, out of zero. And that's what most people, they don't have millions, but they live like they are billionaires. They are consumers. You don't create wealth by just consuming. You must produce something. And building apartments is production. It's production. It's production. So my name is Obedako. We need to really shift the minds of our people to look at this. And it's key. And a lot of the times you don't even have to live in. You just have to make sure that you have provided this, and it can solve. So you can go to any municipality, you can go to any regional capital, you can go and ask. If you don't like Accra, I side with you. You can go to places where the land is a bit okay. A lot of people are you will not get a lot of trouble. Your next trouble will be, how do I build this and build it where? So if you can tag every one of us, so long as you work, and you have some appreciable level of income, you can do this. Every one of us can do this. So instead of you to come and build 10-bedroom apartment, I'll say, okay, I'll build 10-bedroom house and swimming pool and, huge, with a lot of pillars. And you're always painting the house and you still have to go and work and take salary. Your understanding of money is in trouble. I will build half of that, save the rest, get an apartment, put them there, manage them. You would say that, oh, no, I don't want to worry myself. I'll buy T-bills. Okay, no problem. No problem, but we are appealing to the conscience of those who see this as a need. So I'm saying that housing is a huge area in our country, especially for rent. We still have a lot to do. Nice apartment that are not so much expensive. Once you finish, people will come. If they don't come, it's the pricing. If they don't come, it's likely where you have positioned it and how much you're charging. Most people who can afford that don't want that area. So eventually you may probably have to convert it to something else or drop the rent, and you see that people will come. But people want nice places to live without paying so much. So think through, without paying so much. People want nice places to live. That one I can tell you. There are a lot of young families who are looking for 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, the family. And if you can come up with a better structure where you're not taking 2-year advance, but maybe you're taking 3 months, then you'll be a good landlord, you know. You'll be a good landlord. But don't forget that building, once you start, it takes the money like that. It's like taking care of a baby. You have to spend on everything, on their medicine, on their diapers, you know, on everything, on their soap. They eat every time, their clothes. That's it. So once you start building, it consumes. It just takes the money. It doesn't bring it until you finish and you're renting it. Don't forget that. So you need good plans. And I think that your financial scale should also be up a bit. You should have proper understanding. And from buying of the land to its registration and to its construction, keep the data, write everything. Even if you have other people doing it for you, get the data, because tomorrow you may want to do another one. These processes, these material costs, the labor that you're paying, they will guide you in your future projects. And I can tell you that your first project will not be close to your second one, because then in doing the second one, you will become better informed, better skilled, you know, and never feel like you can, especially beyond the calculation part of the construction. When it comes to ventilation and how things must be positioned, you must have a say. Live through it. Sometimes our draftsmen and our architects, you know, they can just go and copy something and just dump it on you. If you build strictly according to what they do, sometimes by the time you finish, you don't like what you're seeing. So once they give you the drawings, especially look at where air is coming from, where they have positioned the windows, you know, where they have positioned the toilet, the kitchen. Ask a lot of questions on that. Just have, you know, some basic understanding of these things. If I'm living in this apartment, it's all right. And if you don't like it, change it, you know, before they even start the construction. And if you're dealing with an architect or draftsman who is not listening to you, who is imposing his thoughts, you have to change him, because what they are producing is going to affect the construction itself. So you need somebody who you can engage, somebody who even ask you, is this okay? Or you think there is another thing that we can change? Not somebody when you want to change something, you are double thinking. Meanwhile, you're going to pay them. You have to let them go and get the one who understands how to work with you and get the best of product, because you are talking, he is talking. That's why the best of designs come out. That's why the best of the concept will come out. If they just have to come and just dump it on you and say, pay me, it's so likely that it's not well informed. Because the thing is that you are the one with the concept, not me, not the architect, not even the engineer. You are the one with. So what you have in mind is key, is that much important. What you say is that much important. Your understanding of the concept and how it connects with the market and with the location, they're very much important. If that is not right, a lot of the things that you're going to do will not be right. So you must have somebody that you work with who will be that much engaging, and who will not be who will not be offended when you challenge what they have produced, what they have brought. You know, because you're doing this, who knows? It could be the first one. It could be the first of 1,000 projects that you're going to do. You never know. You know, so you have to make sure that you you gather data, you build on what you know. So my name is Obin Dalko. I am talking about apartments. I'm saying that it's a huge area which has very critical need in our country, and is one of the real estate. This is the best way to conserve wealth, and especially if you do it in the multiples. Apartments, you know, is the best way. You usually they finance them, but I'm saying that here, if you want to use bank financing, it's not the best way, because the high interest rate is not good. So you have to look at the kind of concept that you have, the people who are coming to rent it. What do you think they are likely to pay you based on the area? Is it 2-bedroom that they want? Is it 3-bedroom that they want? Is it single room self-contained that they want, as we call them? What is it that they want? Where is the demand? and how much are they willing to pay. I am of the opinion that look at where the volumes are and master there and give them the best of service. Look at that. The volumes between 500 to 1,500 a lot of the times for 2-bedroom, depending on the location. This one, if you're able to provide very good apartment at a very managed price, because some people can do the same thing, but when they finish, it's so expensive that they have to, price the units so expensively. You don't need that. So you have to contain a lot of the activity so that you know that, if I'm building at 1 million, my one unit should be 1,000 or 500. Think of that. Work the mass down. Work the mass down. Don't just go and say that, I'm building, I'm very happy, I'm building this and tango, What is your opinion on the rising cost of properties? Who is your target market in your property? I am looking at between 500 to 1,500, or worst case scenario 2,000. But if it's a very key area, maybe a little bit. But I'm looking at that, and I also say that if you can give maybe 1 year advance, is better. I'm looking at a 2-bedroom. A 3-bedroom is, not many people want the 3-bedroom, but many people would want 2-bedroom or single room, self-contained, as they call them, with the kitchen. Those, I think, the market for me is not bad. But there is also a huge market for 200 to 500 Ghana cedis a month. There's a huge market for retail workers, security guys who do security. Anybody who receives between 700 to 1,000 or between 500 to 1,000 income, they most likely will rent the 200 to 500. Don't forget that. Then people who receive above 2,000 would want to rent maybe 1,000. And usually if it's a man and wife or girlfriend, they're able to do it more conveniently. You don't want to rent it, said that when they are there, they are worrying so much. They are worrying so much. They are not happy because of the rent. The rent is not good for them. You want to provide a house that the rent is. So that is what I look at. So some of the things that we have done, I'm not looking at $1,000, $2,000. I'm not interested in that. Even if I have money, I don't have that. Anyway, if I have money, I will not do that. I'm looking at where people can get decent houses with, even though it's still expensive, but the cost of construction is also, don't forget that the cost of construction is way through the roof. It's not good. Cement is very expensive. Iros, labor cost is not that. You know that. So for you to put all these things together and produce a nice house, land. Some of the places that you buy land is 250,000. So if I buy land 300,000 per plot, and I'm able to build maybe another 1.5 million or 2 million, you should know that. So you try to adjust things, but we also don't try to get that much greedy. But we really need to be also look at the facts so that you also don't, collapse the little that you're also doing. So I hope it does. Do you think chamber and hall single room, 1-bedroom market is more profitable than 2-bedroom? I don't know. I think 2-bedroom and chamber and hall, self-contained, like what they cost to you, I think they are close. They are close because if you partition the 2-bedroom, you still have the 2, and usually you are charging half of that for single room. So I think they are very close. And yes, I think they're very, but the market is for that. It's for single room, self-contained with a porch, those, what is it, with a kitchen, those things. So young guy, you are doing national service, you are not ready to marry yet. So those in very nice, more trouble areas, they help. And if you're paying 500,000 or so, they help. So Achimota, Pokuase, St. John's, Taifa, Medina, Teshi, Sakumono, those areas, you go to Kumasi, is the same. You know those areas. where the land is not like East Legon or Cantonment. You can put up things like that if you get. Sometimes you can look at even areas that are a little bit new, but not so much new, where people have been there for the last 20 years or so, where you have electricity. The roads may not be tied, but people live there, you can see. And if they are close to the stations too, they help. They help. So I think you should look at that. But in terms of 3-bedroom, then pushes you to very, family people, husband, wife with children. They look for 3-bedroom a lot of the times, and so that one can be a bit up in terms of rent. That one can be. What do you mean by 1-bedroom self-contained? How do I say? 1-bedroom self-contained is where it's 1 bedroom. The person may have there's toilet and bath in it, and maybe a little space for to serve as kitchen. That's what you call 1-bedroom self-contained. I hope I'm right, but that's what we call that. And a lot of the times, if those are also very nicely finished, and in high traffic area, there's high demand for that. In high traffic area, there's high demand for that. So if you have money and you want to do that, I can tell you 2-bedroom, single self-contained in areas where you already have light, people live there already, and your rent is good. I can tell you that it'll work. It'll work. But you don't want to build in areas where it's not so much an old area, it's not tarred road, and you want to charge so much because you have gone to put a very nice building. It will be very difficult for you to, and you're charging so much, The average guy who wants to live around those areas may not have so much money, So you have to build with the intention that these are the people who would come and take this and rent this. Yeah, so that's what somebody saying studio, yes, something like that. But me from a village, as I said, 1-bedroom self-contained. So I would say so. So those are, if you get good, if you have money and you want to do this, I would say that they are really needed. They are really needed. It's true. And if there were some kind of competition, as a matter of fact, the rent will come down. If you found a way to build these things at a cheaper rate, the rent will automatically reduce, because then most people will do them. And once there is that much supply of these units, you cannot charge beyond the average, asking price from everybody. So I think they try to hide this because they know that most people have not built these things, and largely because traditionally we have not been building to rent. We've been building to stay there with our family. Now there is a need for this everywhere. Go to Kumasi, there is a need. In as much as Kumasi is a bit traditional, people who want to build a house, you still have a lot of people coming to Kumasi to work. You go to Takoradi, you still have them there. Go to Sunya, you still have them there. We have to pay attention to some of these areas. We really have to. With the high cost of building, I don't see how anybody can make profit renting their brand new. No, you have to. You can make profit. Why not? You just have to be patient a little. You're not looking at making all your money within a year or two. Give yourself at least 10 years. But if you're not building with loan, I think it's possible. Now, one thing about properties is that it doesn't make you rich fast. It conserves your wealth. You're able to create something to say that this is. I know a certain man. He built about 60 stores on his property. He's still about 90 years. The man does not look poor. He charges about 10,000 on the average per store per year. So if he has 60, you can understand. So let's say he uses 10% to do maintenance. He still has a lot of money. Even if he's left with 400,000 a year, that's good money for him. And he's done this, and he's not the one waiting for Senate to take care of him. Because instead of him to use that money to build huge buildings, he used that money to create this. So he's not going to be poor. Till he dies, he's not going to be poor. And if his children are able to take care of this building, they will also be able to they will not be poor. Acute poverty is out of the family. So in as much as if you want to multiply your cash that quickly, you don't put them in buildings. But I can guarantee you, if you have businesses, if you have some level of income, instead of you to put them just in areas, you want to build nice house and buy nice cars, I think you can help our country to get more units in terms of apartment. And you never know, maybe when you enter, you will see other loopholes that you can easily make the property even pay for itself, maybe even in 5 years. You never know. Some people are doing that. So it depends. A lot of the times is what informs what people build is where the problem is. Some people think that they are building to go and stay there. So they bring everything expensive there. Listen, if somebody is going to rent your house and he's paying 500, don't go and buy a lot of expensive things and put them there. No. Most people will not take good care of those things that they don't own. So buy the average one, because the price is average anyway. So it's good. People are making. I can tell you that if you have them, you may not. if you have 50 units and they are giving you 500 Ghana cedis a month, that's not bad money at all. That's not bad money at all. That's good money. That's good money. Pricing on property is going through the roof. The infrastructure is not there yet to match the pricing. I mean, I don't know, but there are some of the properties that we see the prices there. They don't make sense. But one of the reasons I can say is that some of them also borrow to build. So I'm building 4 units, 4-room, 4-bedroom house story. And I borrow, and maybe it's costing me, let's say, maybe plus the land, maybe it's costing me about 800,000, and I'm using 1.5 years or 2 years to build. Now I borrowed at 30%. Don't forget that. So within a year, 30% I'm paying on the money they gave me. If I'm not able to sell it the next year, which is 2 years, I'm paying 60% on the money they gave me. If it stays there for 3 years, I'm almost paying 100% on that. So I think some of the pricing is not so much of what has gone into the house, but the cost of the money that they used in putting those structures also inform some of their pricing. Because they are in business, and let's face it, it's expensive to borrow from some of these guys. So I think that is what a lot of the times informs some of these, costs. Yeah. I think I don't know any other reason, because usually it's 2 times what they have put there, and some of them don't even make profit. I know some of them who just collapse because they were reckless with their projections and with the rate at which that they were borrowing money. So a lot of the times it's not so much what has gone into the project, but a lot of the times is if they're also borrowing from people, sometimes they borrow it at a very high cost. And if you look well, a lot of these properties who have done hundreds of units, a lot of these property companies are not in good shape. Because if you're not lucky and you borrow and you finish the project and people are not coming, or maybe you finish and the person says, I don't have money. And sometimes they even price them in a different currency. That's also not good, because those currencies are not staying at one point. They are also growing. But the person who's coming to buy it is being paid in cedi. So you rate that in another currency, and that currency is volatile. The same house that you're selling 10 cedi or 100,000 in that currency. My salary has not changed over that period. So if the rate from 5 goes to 6, I'm paying you in higher currency, even though it's the same figure. What I have to change the city to pay you, would I have to change more city to pay you? It doesn't make sense. So, which means that in as much as you think that you're charging so that you're safeguarding yourself as a business person, you're also losing a lot of people because they can't pay it. So eventually, you are at one place. And I saw some of these things happen to some of the companies that got some kind of some association with. So I think that you have to do it to win. So property is equal to generational wealth. Yes, it's true. If you go to some of our towns and villages, there are families there, you can see they still have 9-story buildings. And those families are not in abject poverty because the children there, at least they have somewhere to sleep, other than those, more than those who didn't have anywhere to sleep, so they had to go and rent right away. So it conserves, and there is some kind of, so I think that it's for wealth conservation, it's for wealth creation. It's not for multiplication. No. So if you have businesses and you're bringing a lot of money, and I'm saying that because there's huge need for this in our capitals, in our district capitals. So it's not just about you making money. You also have to know our people getting good places to sleep at a decent price. We have to also look at that. This has been very informative. Unfortunately, I have to leave now. Thank you. I'm also thankful for you being here. Thank you very much. And please share the channel with people who have to see this. Share the channel with your friends as well. My friend was telling me, you don't say people should subscribe. No, so I would say subscribe to the channel, share the channel with your friends and with your maybe WhatsApp pages, Facebook pages, other timelines, other things that you need. You share, you talk with people there. Share, because these are some of the things that will help all of us. Because our structure in Africa is so different when it comes to wealth creation. Our structure is different. A lot of these, machinations that they have always come in a different form. So if you're not able to understand this, then you will not be able to conserve the wealth. And so you have to understand what we do here. And sometimes even our people don't know what to do here. So they come with the book knowledge. My grandfather was a cocoa farmer. He had his own transport company. He had his sheep, goat, orange farm. He didn't die poor. He didn't go to school. He didn't go to school anyway. There is a common sense for those. There is knowledge for wealth and finances. Those ones are not in school. And there is knowledge that they teach you to become a doctor, lawyer, engineer, professor. Professional knowledge is different from wealth creation. Most people have confused that. And a lot of the information that they have given to us in school and in our professional lives, they were not given to us for us to create wealth. They were given to us so that we can keep on working, which is okay. They pay you salary. But once you get the salary, the skill, the knowledge to move that salary into wealth is what most people don't have. And those they don't teach in school. Accountants don't have. I can tell you, doctors have no clue. Professors have no clue. So they take the salary, they chop it. They buy a nice house, nice car. Then when they get 60, 65, they say, go home. If you're not lucky and the government does not get you in the system again, you die poor. So it's not so much about you becoming a doctor, professor, and those things. They give you technical understanding, technical skills. They give you status in society. But I think that if you have say on your finances, there's more that you can do. And there's no freedom that comes close to it, where you have control of what, and when there is one city in your hands, what the decisions you make with the one city. So critical to the future that you're creating. What strategies will you use to determine whether to build an apartment complex of, let's say, six one-bedroom apartment? Yes. So when I started, I said that you have to know the area that you're building, the people who live there, or the kind of people who your prospective tenants, those that you think will come and rent the area, rent in that particular area. What is the level of salary that they have? You must have some basic information on this. And I said that most of our people, the very bottom, the very low, so to say, sorry, the very, those who don't have much income, is between 50 to 100, between 50 to 200 rent that they will go for. There's about 30 to 40% of us who can only do that. They can't go beyond that based on the kind of income that they have. And there is another form, maybe another 30% or 40% or so, which rents between maybe the 200 to 500, maybe 30% or so. Then there is another percentage which runs between 500 to 1,005 or so, and then you are going to the very top. So you have to look at the people. These are the things that you look at, the area. If you go to build a very nice apartment at Amasamai and you say you are charging 5 to 10,000 Ghana cedis, 2-bedroom, top finish, you won't get a lot of people to come there. But maybe if you do the same thing at Cantonments, you'll get people. Maybe if you do the same thing at Urech, you'll get people. That is understandable. So, but if you do an apartment you are renting for, say, 500 Ghana cedis at Amasamai, I usually would say that look for a place that they have the light already. Don't look for the one that is a farmland that they are trying to turn into residential. They will not catch up for people to come and rent with decent money. So you have to look at the people you're building. That's what should inform you. You are not building for yourself. You are building for people. They should be able to afford it. No problem. They will be able to afford it. You are building for people. So you're finishing. Maybe you want to buy. There was a time that I went to buy a toilet bowl. There you say that, oh, this one is 400. And there was another one which was 4,000. Now I'm building for somebody to rent. I'm not going to buy toilet bowl, WC 4,000 for a place that I'm charging 500 or 1,000 a rent. No, it doesn't make sense. So you're not building for yourself. You have to, every one of the components that you're using to build, especially when it comes to the finishing stage, there are different pricing on them. You have to know how much are they going to pay me and what I have to use for this finishing. You have to be good at that. You have to get those. That's why you can see people who will build nice buildings, put for rent for it for years, and nobody comes there. Not because people don't want the building, but people cannot afford what he is asking for. And yet there is so much need for rent, huge. But they are in certain categories. They are in certain categories. If you go beyond those categories, people can afford. Don't forget that we take 1 year advance, 2 years advance. Don't forget that. And that makes it very difficult for a lot of us. And I understand why they take that, because they also build with their money. Or even if they credit or borrow, they borrow at a very high cost. So I understand that. But, so you have to do the one that a lot of us will be very much comfortable. And where you are also comfortable. Because when they rent the place, you don't want them to keep on worrying that they are looking for a cheaper place to move. You want it in a very convenient way for them. In your opinion, what is the best way to safeguard against getting swindled in land acquisition? I would say that Accra, you should always know that Accra can get you into trouble. I've had a lot of opposition myself. It's okay. So even some of the people that somebody gave us a good place before, and then we wanted another one, and it got into some messy situation. Usually, if it's a place that you're building for apartment, for instance, I think that If you have friends, talk to friends. Sometimes some of your friends may have bought land and they have fought all the fight, and now they want to sell. It's easier that way. I would not go to the landowners. A lot of the times they are in trouble. When it comes to land, I'm not using a lot of these agents. No, I want to talk to people I know. Most people, who friends, family, when they have done the document, especially some of them have done the document, they will show you this is my land. I have, and you also go behind them and check. Especially those are very much safe when they come through acquaintances, especially in places that have already been developed. You a lot of the times they have fought all the fights, so it could be a bit more expensive, but it's safer. It's safer. So instead of me buying, say, 50,000 far a bit, maybe 100,000 from somebody like that with some of the documents, even if it's not fully done, at least it's plotted. And you don't also have to give all the money right away, maybe some bit. And you have to have people who can also check them from the institutions for you. And then maybe some informal checks, go around the area, talk to the boys there, talk to the woman there. No, do your due diligence. It's very key. It's very key. It's very key. So don't lose the money. Don't lose the money. But no matter the fight, don't worry. Go and fight, because this one will create wealth for you. We have lived with people. We are tired of people just showing cars and houses without wealth. We want a generation that will think of creating wealth before showmanship. We have to change that, where you create wealth before showmanship. You have this unit you're renting. You have this business you're building. You have this. Then you can go and buy all those things. But don't go and buy those things and show people and show them where you live and the car you drive. That's not wealth. That's deception. That's deception. Because you can't build these things. You can't build these things if you're ignorant financially. You can only turn the small money that you have to build apartment because you are very skilled with money. You're very disciplined with money. Most people who are very reckless will not be able to do this, no matter how much salary that they get, because the pulse is so low that it's too emotional. They want people to accept that they have something. They cannot afford to overlook. They have to be. People should know that they are somewhere. Maybe it's okay. I don't know, but build wealth, build something, put something. If you can, build your apartment before you build where you live, even. So how will you with the real estate business? I think it's okay. I think it's okay. You just have to know what you're doing. How will you start with your real estate business? How will you start? Osman, I think you have to have source of income, and you have to project. So let's say I'm working now. I'm able to save some bit of money. I project the next 3 years. I will want to build 3-bedroom apartment or single room apartment in not so much expensive area. It's always, if you don't have money, some people will show you all the properties that they are developing, but they don't show us the source of funding. I'm particular about how did you get the money to fund this project. So maybe you have partners, it's okay. Or maybe some bank is funding you, it's fine. But if you're like me, and like most of us, we don't have partners and we don't have anybody to fund us, then we have to plan ahead. So when somebody is buying Land Cruiser, I'm not buying that. When somebody is changing their rent all the time, I'm not changing that. When somebody is changing the children's schools all the time, I'm not doing that, because I have something that I want to do. I want to start. And so maybe I will not be able to start 2-bedroom in a very expensive area, but I'll be able to start a single room self-contained in maybe some district capital somewhere. The thing about it is that the processes are very similar. What changes probably is the volumes, but the processes are very similar. So once you have gone through one process, you are a little bit informed. And so you start from the level that you have. So you save for about 2 years, 3 years, or you have to work extra, save, cut a lot of the funds, and focus on building something for the future. So maybe you've been able to raise 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. Then go to a place where they are selling the land, not so much expensive, but then people need places to rent. Go to those places and develop something. Sometimes the rent there is just 100 cedis, 200 cedis. But then your land is so cheap. Don't forget that. And maybe you're even building at a cheaper rate as well, which means it will be profitable, which means that you'll be able to at least get everything back in 5 years or so. But it will be something that you'll be so much proud of, that I started a real estate business. And something about life is that, the way God set life, once you start to do that, you don't know who will connect with you from anywhere. You don't have no idea. But you're building capacity, you're building network, you're building skill. The next time you started in your town, the next time you are in your capital, the next time you are everywhere. So it's so much of being sure of the source of income, the concept that you have in mind. Look at where people really need what. If in your village people don't need 2-bedroom, don't go build 2-bedroom there. Don't go and build 2-bedroom there. Build the ones that they can afford, and build them such that you are not giving them what is so, some people make it a cake. They make it so sweet. You don't need that. Or some people prepare food for you so much. You can do it according to the level that the people can afford. This is how you start, and don't start with loans, expensive loans. Don't start with that. You get into trouble. And be straightforward with the people you deal with, your contractors, whoever is building for you. Be straightforward. Make sure you have money. And I said that if you can do it within 12 months to 24 months, it's the best. Don't push it there and do it for 5 years. No, you're losing the money. You always, anytime you're on a construction project that the time is over, you spend so much time on it, you lose money. And material cost is not stagnant, it's going. Labor cost is still, so something that you could have used 100,000 to build, because you use 3 years now, because you use 5 years, 10 years, now you use 300,000 to build. It becomes so much expensive, so get as much of the money that you want to start with, 50, 70%, and then start, and then start. You always have to do something like that. Don't just, like the way my friend is saying, oh, I went to buy the land, so the next time I will put block there. Then the next time I'll go and do the excavation. That is the house that you're trying to build in. This one, we are talking about apartment. And it's business, so you have to approach it like that. Organize your thought, organize your processes. Maybe you can even get a name for the business, Think through, write some things. You can write, pick a diary, write some of the steps that you're going to use. Organize, because the more you organize, every business is business. The difference is how organized the business leader is, the structural thinking that they have, the understanding that they have on the concept that you're developing. Those are the things that will separate your property business from another person's property business, because it calls for proper management of the money, management of the people, management of the processes. There's so much. So it could be just a simple business. You don't even have much, but you're so organized that they will set the stage for your growth. And you read a lot about this, you study so much about it. And I just said that our understanding, the way our property market is so much different from the rest of the world. Don't forget that in funding, in how we take our rent, the need, where the critical need of the houses, is so much different. So if you don't really understand what is going on the market, in our market, you just say that, oh, I went for this loan, want to build this. Then you see the contractors, the mason boys will screw you, will lie to you, will run away with your money. And then you say that I won't do it again. It's because you didn't structure well, didn't think through well, didn't plan well. So then the whole process became chaotic and and because maybe you were not even skilled. So there's the business component. In as much as your engineers are good, they may not be so much interested in the business component of what you're doing. They will be so much interested in the construction side. And the construction side is not the same as the business side of what you're building. It's not the same. The business side is where you have your customers in mind and you're developing something for them. You know, these are, those, the engineer and the construction man is just looking at, where is the iron rods? Where is the cement? This is, we are casting there, they're putting the door here, we are painting here. That's what they are interested in. Once the building is completed, they don't know who to rent it to. Can you really build your dream and future living in where you are born? Maybe because of certain having bigger dreams resulting to criticism. Okay, I agree. So maybe you move to the next town. Yes, maybe you move to the next town. But because it's your dream, if it's your dream and if it's in your heart and you want to do this, it won't die. It will stay with you. Even if when you're 90 years, you will still be telling your grandchildren, I wanted to be a property developer. I don't know what happened. If it's your heart desire, if it's your dream, it won't go away. So you just have to find a way, to do it. That's what I think. I remember when we were in school somewhere, and the professor asked me, so are you going to Ghana? I said, yes, after this, I'm going back to Ghana. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I want to do properties. He said, how? Where are you going to get the money? He said, no, I don't know. I'll see. That was a dream. I didn't know how, I didn't know what, But then we started to build business. And there are a lot of errors, mistakes. People run away with your money. People will cheat you. People will lie to you. You will cheat yourself. You lie to yourself as well. You hit bottom. You make so much mistake. You may probably pick money that you didn't have to pick, get into association with people you had no business getting into. But through it all, if you have good heart, and if you want to become the best of yourself, and you work hard, and you're straightforward, and you're always learning, I can tell you that your dream will always come true. You're not looking at screwing people or cheating, and you're not selfish. You're not just looking for everything for yourself. You're open-hearted. You treat people well. These things will make sure that you become what you want to become. That one I can guarantee you. Just be a student of life. Just continue to learn. Government worker? No, I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur. I train as an engineer, process engineer, MSc, but I've been in business, all kind of errors, mistakes. So I'm not a government worker. No. I'm an entrepreneur. We have all kind of things that we do, right? And property development is one of them that we do, but we do them according to the level that we have. But we have gone through a lot of the errors, a lot of the processes, and we're still fighting. So nobody, if you're in business, even Dangote, they're always fighting all the time. So don't forget, don't worry about that. You're always fighting once. Don't ever think that you'll be so wise at any point. No, you always learn. Life is a continuous process of learning. So no matter what made me return to Ghana, no, but Ghana is where the future is. When you were in school, we traveled to some of these countries. Listen, the joy of living in our country nowhere comes close. If you want to use your ability and your brains, I dare say there's no other better place than here in Ghana or in Africa. There's no better place. When you have the mind that somebody must help you, then here will be very frustrating for you. When you have the mind that the government should be the one doing everything for you, it'll be very frustrating for you. But when you have the heart to start from where you are and the humility to say that even if I fall, I'll get back up again, and the confidence to be here and not focus on all the things that people talk about, you will see so many opportunities. So many opportunities. You see them. Would you go through a lot of challenges? Absolutely. But everywhere there are challenges. And it's easier to build some of these things here than any other place. I mean, that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. With nothing, with no push. Just stay out of a lot of these, government things, and focus on what you can do, and build them and get the skill and the patience. That's the way I think it is. It's not so much. Yes, all the things that we hear, maybe they are true, but I don't really pay attention to them. And as a matter of fact, as you are growing, as you grow, you become stronger, you become mature, you become a bit wiser, and you become a bit more, maybe forgiving and patient and kind. And those things will help you to build your business. And in our country, almost every sector needs people to systematize and to structure. Almost every sector, from mining to agriculture to properties to construction to everywhere. Yes, access to capital is, yes, they continue to say that. So we have to find a way around it. To do it according to the level that somebody is building hotel, big hotel, millions. But maybe I can build 3 single rooms in my district capital. Give yourself time. A lot of the huge business people that we hear about, they have been in business for 50 years, 40 years. Some of the people that we hear about, that we hail them, they have been at this business for years. So I would rather, I'm looking at long term, if I'm 70 years, 80 years time, where would my business be? That's the way, that's the way I will see it. I'm thinking of long term. I'm not thinking of today at all. So I will go through the process. If I want to start a big commercial farm, I will start with 1 plot. If I want to start to build hotel, I will start with small. If I want to build something like ShopRite, I will start with a provision shop. But then I'm learning. Access to capital, yes. But there are other ways that you can always do this. Don't forget that. Please accept my apology for coming off the baby. Myself and business partners are developing a business to provide housing. What will be the best way to contact you? Get your thoughts and opinion. You can send me WhatsApp. You go to the YouTube page. You will see my number there under the contact, or my email is also there. You can send me WhatsApp. If you send me, I see it, I will reply back. So it's still part of the topic, Richie. It's still part of the topic. So if you and your partner developing business to provide housing, fantastic. So if you want to provide them to sell, if you want to provide them to rent, yes, I think that we should be the ones providing this. So access to capital, if bank is not giving you capital, look at your friends, you and 5 of your friends. The problem is that, can you work together? That's where the challenge is. But if you have a lot of people who have developed, who have matured, who have had to develop our continent, to develop our country, you can come together and do something. And if nobody is coming together, you can still do something. Build businesses, raise capital, not from the bank, from your business. You can do that. And don't wait for government contracts. You waste your time. Okay? You easily become a crook. Do with what you have gradually. Give yourself long term. Our system is so much different from the others. Our system is so much different from the others. Our system is so much different from the others. It's difficult to get government work nowadays. I'm in college now because I don't know what is outside. Government work, Osman, don't worry about government work. There are so many problems in our country you can solve, okay? There are people in farming. There are people who are taking care of our waste. There are people who are providing all kinds of services. What we need, now that you're in school, in as much as you want to get all the grades, they are very good, but start to get information that will help you to do something, to build something with the skill, with the heart that you have. Don't grow thinking that government must give you work. If government will give some people work, no problem. But see yourself as somebody who would have to give government work. All right. So get another source of information. Read a lot. Study. Stretch your mind. The classroom information that they have given you, you cannot do anything with it. That's what I can tell you. You have to become a lecturer, consultant, government minister, or government something. Government takes care of them. If you're not lucky, like myself, and government didn't give you work, you have to find something to do yourself. And one of the things that you'll be able to do, if you have to find something to do yourself, is if you fed yourself with the right information. Most of our students don't read anything apart from the course that they're doing in school. And that's why when they come out of school, they are so much ill-prepared for the real life. Ill-prepared for real life. They don't read anything. They don't study anything. They just engineering. So when they finish, they go and get MSc. Then they get PhD. They become something. No. Do something, read extra. And professional life is different from financial. Your finances and your wealth that you have to create. And your professional life is so different. The fact that you went to school to become a lawyer, engineer, doctor, does not mean that you'll be rich. That's if you don't know, go to the court and see. Go and talk to a lot of our judges. They have nothing. But they get salary. Because once they pay you, what you do with what comes to your hand shows the level of intelligence you have in terms of finances. And most people, they just get money to build a house and a car, send their children to nice school, buy nice clothes, have nice weddings. They have no idea how to multiply the money, grow the money, make intelligent decisions with the money. So they work for 60 years, they still live in government house. When they tell them to go home, they have nowhere to go because they didn't study money. So study money. Study is a subject you must study. Read it. Not just the maths they are teaching you, not just the English. The English will not put anything in your pocket. And when you complete school and you have nobody to give you a job, you'll be able to do something for yourself because you have raised your financial information. The eye that you need is the ability to see money. And most people don't have that ability. They have ability to work for salary. They don't have the ability to see opportunities because they didn't think it was important. Most people, they didn't think it was important. They were very much happy to be called a doctor, a pharmacist, a lawyer, those things, accountant. And when they are fired from their job, they can't do anything because they didn't study money. It's a special, you see how people are able to identify gold. It's a skill they develop. It's an expertise. It's expertise that they develop. The same when it comes to creating opportunities, creating wealth and multiplying money. You must develop it. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes in developing this. Just as you made a lot of mistakes learning how to read. Now you're an expert. You can write English. Or you can read English as well. And you can, explain it to people. When you started primary school or nursery, you could not do this. Now you're an expert at that. But you made a lot of mistakes. Even when they gave you classroom, correction, you go. I remember my teachers would give us correction. You do the math, you don't get all. They say, when you are coming, do the correction. We did a lot of corrections. Now you have a certain level of expertise. Same with money. You're going to make a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes. But if you don't give up, then you become an expert. And so we are talking about apartment, how to build apartment. It takes a lot of financial good decisions and discipline for you to turn that small money that you have and build something with it. And I dare say that it's possible for every one of us, depending on what we want to do and what we want to build. What we need is proper understanding of this, of the industry. And I'm not teaching my children to become all those things. I'm teaching my children, can you see opportunity? Do you understand money? Because if my child says I want to become a doctor, I say no problem. But you can build hospitals and employ doctors. No, I want to become a journalist. No problem. But you can own radio station and employ journalists. Which one do you want? The skill sets are different. So I would rather teach them the skill set to own, to build. I'm a very good gold expert, or I'm an oil engineer. No problem. You don't have to be an oil engineer to own an oil company. Not at all. You don't even have to be a footballer to own a football team. You just have to understand how a business is run. And much of it is the financial information, the people management, how you can set structures and systems, your ability to keep going when everybody is saying stop. Those things. So there is so much that there's so much there's so much confidence that those of us who went to school show. But we only show them in our technical understanding. When it comes to money, when it comes to wealth creation, especially starting out of nothing, Majority of us have no clue. We have no clue. I have mates who are engineers. They have no clue where the world is going. But if you give them the car, they will be able to repair it. If you give them the engine, they will be able to tell you all the names. But they have no clue. The work, they have to wait for the salary. The month salary comes, they don't know. They just spend it, wait for the next. It takes them forever to even build a house that they want to live in because they have very little understanding of money. Very little understanding of money. So my name is Obin Dako. I'm sharing with you one of the most important topics that is very dear to my heart because the more we're able to shift people's mind into creating wealth from the little that they have, the better for all of us. And one of the best places that you all can do, instead of them pushing you to go and build a very big house that you probably will never live in. You only want to tell people that I have a big house. I would say that look at apartment. It's a critical need, huge need. We just have to have the models right and thought through well, and do it gradually and learn the trade. You get a lot of information from the field. Nobody was born with any of these. So we all, glean from it. We all learn. You pick information, you talk to people, you ask questions, you read books, you ask questions, you apply some, you make mistakes, you correct them, you keep going. It gets to a point you have become somebody who understands this particular industry. It's like building business. It's the same. You need to gather a lot of information. You need to gather a lot of information and you're going to learn. That's why when you talk to the market woman, she knows a lot about money, about where she sources her product. She understands her customers, and that's why she's successful. Right? And the same tomato woman, if they call it, say, come and take this, you will crash it. Even though you're all human beings, the scale is in what she knows. So with apartment, so the scale, what we know, we share them. What we know, we share. What we know, we share. So let me go through the points. If you just join us, my name is Obedago. I'm talking about real estate and building apartment for rent. And I'm saying that our market is so different from the other, especially outside the continent of Africa, and that we don't have a lot of companies who have built apartments or houses that are selling that you can easily go and buy them and start to rent them. They are not in the majority, very few. So if you want to build apartment, you must probably build them yourself, and in terms of funding, you should plan this well so that if it's going to cost you $1 million to do that, at least half of it you should have, so that it runs smoothly. And you should look at how can I finish this project in 24 months maximum, or maybe 36 months. That's 3 years maximum. And then you must understand where you want to build this apartment and the people who live there. How much salary do they get? And how much rent do they want to pay? You must understand these things. They will inform you. If you don't, then you just go and build anything there. And when you finish, you say people do. And don't forget, you're not building for yourself. You're building for somebody to come and live in with a certain limit. If you cross up to a certain limit, they can't pay the rent. And what you want is that you want a lot of the people because when somebody rents, by all means, they will leave. And when they leave, it should not be so difficult for you to rent the property. Okay, because your rent is in the category where most people who would want to live in that area can afford, and there are conveniences that come with it, So you have to know that. And I'm saying that majority of our people, 30% or so, maybe can afford 50 to 200 Ghana a month. And then maybe another one is 200 to 500 a month, or maybe 500 to 1,000, on 1,000 and above. You have to know. And self-contained, single room self-contained is there. 2-bedroom is there. I will focus on those. 3-bedroom, a lot of the times is husband and wife. The rent goes through the roof. And so that's why you can see some properties, they have done them there 3 years. Nobody has come for them because they are charging too much. Why? Because they spent too much on it. So think through a lot of this. And I also said that how are you getting the money? You should know how you're getting the money. If you're going to borrow, make sure that you have good interest rate. got this 30%, 20% interest rate, you fail. I'm not a prophet, but you fail. The project will run into the ditch because it means that 3 years is double. So if you go to take money, 1 million from them, 3 years, you're paying 2 million. You can't do that. How much is the property going to give you? And this property probably is going to take 2 years to finish. So it's disaster. You don't want to do that. You want to do it according to your level. Build it, learn it, to get to a point that you have a lot of resources and you probably will do what you want. When people say they are developers, they are not telling you who is funding them. Anytime you see anybody say, oh, I've built hotel, I've built apartment, ask them, where was the money coming from? How did you make the money to finance this? It's very key. Because there's a huge difference between the one who's making his money to put in apartments or development, and there's another one who is depending on partners or investors or banks to finance the project. They are not the same. It is way easier when you have good funding, good investors, good banks to support you, but don't forget that you pay back. Never forget that. So once you have been able to settle all these things, then you look at putting a good team to construct the project for you. You put in a good team to construct a project for you. So that's why you look at an engineer who understands the language. I'm recapping. An engineer who understands the language, you can communicate with. They help you. They will correct a lot of errors and mistakes for you. But don't forget, it's still your project. So the things that you don't understand, you have to ask them. And I always say that when it comes to the money, the management, if you have maybe wife, involve them to ask you key questions. If you have maybe girlfriend or you have a brother or sister, it's better you put your head together that way, because you're going to make so many decisions on this. Once, from land acquisition to construction to renting to everything, you're going to make a lot of decisions. And so I think it's easier when somebody is with you and you're showing interest. It gets to a point, you become maybe a big business where you'll be able to take accountant and architect and quantity surveyors and marketing managers and operations manager. Then it's a big company, But before you get there, there is work that you must do. And when a lot of people are talking, they are not telling you what they have gone through to get to where they are, And it's important that you go through the processes gradually. I'm saying that if you cannot do it in Accra, you can do it in Kumasi. If you can do it in Kumasi, you can do it in Takrady, or you can do it in any of our regional capitals, district capitals, because there is need for that. The only thing is that when you go there, look at what the people can afford and what is really needed. Don't just go there and say that I build special house for people, I can charge 3,000. Meanwhile, a lot of people don't have the 3,000. And you're asking 3,000 2 years advance. Do your math and see how many people can afford that. So, and I don't go with 1% I want to go with 90% of people can afford that. So it's better I fall on the 90% than fall on the 5 or 10% of the people. I don't believe in this niche, those English that they talk, niche market. I don't, $5,000 apartment. If that person moves me, I'm not coming there. So maybe you can get somebody to come and pay you 5,000, no problem. That's your star. But when that person is no more there or has moved, do you think you can easily get somebody to come and pay you $5,000? So I think that majority of our market, you should really do your statistics, do your homework well and understand that. Because depending on the area you go and the kind of information that you can gather, and once you gather such information, then they become tool for you. A lot of the success of your business, the success of the apartment will depend on the tools that you have, which is the data that you acquire. So if you have good data, they will guide you. They will help you to make the right decisions and the right choices. If you just do it out of vim and patapa, no problem. The market will teach you lessons, So these are some of the things that you you have to learn. And I'm saying that once you have good heart and to learn, and you have some belief in our system and in yourself, and you're a good person and you're patient with people, you'll be fine. Mistakes, you make a lot of them. In the course of you executing the project, there'll be so many things that you will not be happy with. Don't worry, that's how business is. Don't kill yourself. Make sure that you're able to build a strong team to work with you, team that you trust, team that you can depend on. Do that and open your eyes. But let people know that you want to work with them and you have good heart. You need that because you can't do everything yourself. Even if it's a SS boy that who does a lot of the errands for you, they will help you so that you don't break down. You know, some people would want to do everything, even though they have never built anything before. They think, no, construction is very much technical. If you don't know, it's very much technical. Don't play with it. It's, especially if you're building an apartment, it's very much technical. It does not mean you can learn. You can learn, but get people who understand it, engage them. You know, especially the operation side, you can get somebody to just arrange the cement, the iron rods. You know, it takes a lot of stress from you, and trust them as well. Don't say that me, I don't trust anybody, so you know I have to go there, ask the thing myself. No problem. But there are other things that you can do well. Focus on them, and the other things that other people you can help. If you pay somebody some, you know, small amount and give them somebody job, and you train them, they can take a lot of the things that come out of the project without necessarily going on. You know, there are things that you're doing on the site. There are things that they have to do outside the site. And a lot of the times, a lot of the outside the site activities, you can get a young man or a young woman who you can entrust a lot of those to, so that you don't become so much stressed. Sometimes you see some people, because they don't want to lose penny, they don't want to lose any peso. Everything they do it themselves, and they become weak and they become old. You know, they become weak. Hey, Melissa, thank you. Great information, sir, as always. The feasibility study is critical to the potential returns of a business. Yes. Because if you don't do that, you put all the money in a project and you go and put it somewhere and nobody wants it. And so when you go through town, you see that for sale is there and nobody wants it. We had some projects where the amount that we were asking was over the bar, you know, so they came with less amount, and we could not accept that. So the project was there. Maybe we should have done something that was a bit lower. So you will learn. But you know, so maybe sometimes if you build and you want to sell and it is not coming, rent it. But some of our projects that were so much, you know, easy to rent out, a lot of the things that we are discussing, we were a bit accurate with some of them, many of them. And so it was very, very easy for the project to go, because I think they were a bit close. You know, we're a bit close. We're a bit close with the location. We're a bit close with the rent that we're asking. We're a bit close with the kind of people that we thought will come for those things, you know. So if you are very far from the reality, the results will prove to you. When you're frustrated and nothing is happening, you will know that you are not right with your decisions. And therefore, you would have to make some adjustments, you know. And it shouldn't be difficult. You should not punish yourself because you have made mistakes. You know, they come. So correct them. Accept that you were wrong, and look at how you can solve that, because we need you. It's a huge market. We need a lot of people to enter this market and understand the market. I don't believe in this techish and these other guys trying to build. What they are building, they are not building to change a lot of the market for our people. They are building for, you know, still a lot of our people are looking for 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom. They have 50, 500 Ghana, 1,000 Ghana, 200 Ghana. A lot of our people are looking for decent places in areas that they can easily find car to move to town. A lot of our people are looking for these. Right, and so that's where the need, I think the need is in these areas. And so if you are into that, and it's not only in Accra, it's all over. It's all over. It's all over. It's in Accra, it's in Kumasi, it's everywhere. You will see. You even go to your village, the district capital, go there, your city, your town. You see that there are a lot of young teachers there, young nurses there, young government workers there. Maybe there is a new company there. People are looking for a place to rent. And there's a certain limit that they can go. So if we don't have a lot of those houses there, then they would have to go and rent in the nearest major city. And a lot of them, they still don't have these. The few ones that they have, they charge too much. Most people cannot afford that. So we are saying that so long as it's nice, it's neat, and the rent is okay, there is huge need for that. Huge need for that. It's in thousands, it's in millions. The need is in millions, particularly in our major cities. It's everywhere. It's true. And when you build that, give yourself time. It's not 1 year that you're going to make the money back. It's not 2 years. It could take time. It could take 5 years, 10 years. And if you manage them well, those become the seed for the wealth that you create. They become the seed. On that, you can build a lot of things if you manage them well. And all of us have that chance to build something. The only thing is that when your money came, you went to do wedding with it. You went to buy a nice car with it. You took the guys to Dubai. They never thought that you could build a single room apartment for rent. It calls for discipline and sacrifice and a lot of good financial decisions. And you went to buy nice suit with it. You never thought that a future will come that you have to create prosperity for yourself and prosperity for your children, prosperity for the whole country and all of us. And these are some of the things that I think we should do. So go to any city, you will see, count all the apartments, look through, ask, go to 1 or 2 apartments in your area, ask them how much is this going. Let them take you through and see the finishing. Look at the kind of people who live there. Ask questions. Gather a lot of data, even if you don't have money. Nobody will ask you anything. Or take some agent around. Gather information. Ask. I have a lot of agent friends. They just move me around. They just say, today you will buy fuel. They take me. We move. We go and look at land. I don't have money, no problem. I have to look at a lot of land. I didn't have money. But so there are areas that when you mention them, I have some basic information. Not because I did anything there, just that they're my friends. They will call you. Master, there's this thing here, let's go and look at it. Just go and look at it. Nobody, you gather a lot of information. Those things are the things that you are using to train. You get information of this area, of this area, of this area. Sometimes they take him there, the kind of money they mention and say, but it's good, So you're asking. Sometimes you're on the internet, you look at properties, call them, get few ideas as to, because that's how you build. That's how you build information. That's how you build your skill set. That's how you build your expertise. So don't just say that I have money, so I'm going to build. And you just build anywhere. And before you see it, you have locked a lot of money in this thing that this money is not coming back. And then you say that it's very difficult. It is difficult, but it could be less difficult when you have proper information and you make the right decisions and the right choices. So my name is Obendako. I am coming to close on this. And it's one of the subjects that I love, that people should just look at long-term financial creation or wealth creation. And this is one of them. So when your friends are asking you, are you still living at the place you rent? You could be renting and still be building apartments. There's nothing wrong with it. I know a man who was renting somewhere, but he had a lot of properties. Because where he was renting was close to where his business was, and where his properties and where his houses were very far. So did he bother? No, he didn't bother at all. So if you want to do some of these things, you cannot be so much fixated on what your friends think or what your family thinks. Just look at what you're building. Just look at what you're building and give yourself long term, 10 years, 20 years. I want to build this number of units. I'm building. So 20 years time, I want to have maybe 100 units or 1,000 units. Or, it's your choice. So build them, and you will not regret you did this. And if you're able to do it and do it well, that will change the destiny of those who come after you forever. Forever. You will build a base that you will raise a lot of people who have better chance of creating better things with their lives because you came. So you're not looking at just you, you're looking at the next ones who will come. So yes, Bridget, thank you. I would also want to say thank you for taking your time to watch this, and please subscribe to this and share the channel with your friends. I hope this year we'll be able to grow the channel. As I saw, Melissa, thank you very much. Osman, thank you. Richie, thank you very much. Kojo Senya, thank you very much. Everybody who took time to watch this, I want to say thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, again, PJ, thank you very much. Beyonce, thank you very much. Thank you. So we will talk another time. Thank you very much. You can send me a message if you look at the contact there. Under the contact, my WhatsApp number is there. My email is also there. If you have any information, feel free to contact me. I'll be glad to answer if I know. So I want to say thank you very much. So good night. Thank you.